Viewers, thank God it's Friday. A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the Advent Cable Network Nigeria Television. This is Now Streaming, your live morning talk show where we address issues concerning our daily lives, rejoice with people breaking boundaries and discuss topics that have the potential to change our lives. I am Mojisola, and today with me in the studio is Mr. Agbos Benson, a hospitality, tourism and financial expert. You're most welcome this morning.
Thank you, and a good morning.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, do remember to call in with your comments and questions. Reach out to us on any of our social media handles showing now on your TV screen. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. It's the beginning of the weekend, and let's dive into some of the trending news of today, 27th August 2021. Still back in Plateau State with the meltdown in the last 48 hours. And this headline says that doctors in Plateau State, resident doctors in Plateau State, have suspended the strike due to overwhelming emergencies. Red Cross is also calling for blood donations, and the Nigerian Medical Association, the Plateau chapter, is saying, look, we cannot sit back while the situation is engulfing them. So they've suspended their own strike on compassionate grounds. I think that's a good one for them.
Yes.
You know, they said to enable them to attend to the crisis on ground. I think that is the Nigeria we're hoping to see, where people will put aside differences and grievances and do what needs to be done. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's good for Nigerian resident doctors to give in at this point where there's crisis on ground, lives are involved, and we're all Nigerians, and at this point I need to commend them and their president, the chapter in Jos.
Yeah.
Jos is a good place, it's a good state. The topography, the temperature of Jos, the climate, the weather, is a good place that tourists supposed to come in and make that state a good place, better than it before.
Yeah.
I was in Jos last 3 weeks.
Okay.
The road since before or after the colonial time is the same road that is leading from Lafia, Akwanga or Kaduna route to Jos, and it is not good for us. As Nigerians, it's not good for us. And now the crisis in Jos is peculiar, and we must put back issue of tribalism, issue of ethnicity, and other things that create crisis.
Yeah.
We are talking about Jos now. Other states of Nigeria are not excluded.
No.
So Jos is a point view now. Sometimes it is Bauchi, sometimes it is Benue, sometimes it is South, and all this and that. So I think our president, our lawmaker, it's not enough to say, okay, pay us allowance as a lawmaker, House of Rep, House of Senate, and this and that. They should ensure that a security template, because the National Council, Federal National Council, they meet from time to time on security issues. And the more they meet, the more problem we have in this country. And it's not healthy for us. Number one, it's not healthy for our living. It's not healthy for our economy. It's not healthy for our political exercise. It's not healthy for social living. As an individual, as a citizen of this country, we must enjoy a certain degree of rights and freedom. Absolutely. And without freedom, you cannot do anything. Without freedom, your movement is restricted. And when your movement is restricted, everything becomes cloned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I must commend them very well
for that step.
Yes.
And they actually did that with the support of the national body for the resident doctors. So I think that's a good one. And this is an appeal to all those out there who can. The Red Cross is requesting for any able-bodied person to come donate blood. It can save a life. It can, and it will save a life if we could just.
Yes, I want to chip in something.
Yes, please.
Now in each state of the federation, we have the governor.
Yes.
Who is in charge of that state, meaning that it's in charge of every activities.
It should be in charge of every activity.
Yes, it's in charge. It's a constitutional imposition.
Yes.
Yes, they are in charge. The governors are in charge. It is when it surpasses them that federal government intervene. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So the governor, what are our governors doing about insecurity in their state? Because now look at the Nigerian per kilometer or whatever. It is easy to manage a state than to manage 3 states or 6 states in one geopolitical zone. So what are our governors doing about this? Most often when these crashes are happening, you will not find the governor in the state capital. Either the governors or the governor is in US or is in UK. And now, how do you manage? The governor is not a spirit, so you cannot be in a distant country and be managing the state from that place. Now we have soldiers within the state, we have police, we have DSS, we have all this security. Now the security vote that they get as per their budget in the state and their allocation from federal government. How do they use them? We find out the local militants, they are more powerful than our Nigerian maybe security. So it's not good. And again, as a governor, you should be able to look at each of your local governments.
Yeah.
What is their problem? What is causing problem? That is what we call development attack. Because for development to come up, you should be able to know what is the causes of the crisis.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I was in Niger Delta many years back. And when we were in Abuja, you say, Niger Delta people, they are making trouble, they are making this and making that. But if you get to Niger Delta, the water that they will bring out is a horrible one. You can't even use it to bath. And so when they are complaining, the duty of the governor is to who are the people causing this oil pollution, water pollution. Are they responsible to the state government, or are they responsible to the federal government of Nigeria? Are they doing any compensation? And if when compensation is being paid, is it to the traditional ruler? Is it to the traditional ruler or to the community? And what is the distribution system model that every community will stand to get? And when a community doesn't get what's supposed to be due to them, they become grieved. And that could be one of the causes of intertribal violence.
So let's quickly move on to Niger State, where there's some Niger State, where there's some good news. Some months ago, 88 days ago to be precise, some pupils were taken away from the Islamia school in Niger State, and they have regained their freedom as at this morning. 136 pupils, as well as their teachers. As at yesterday night, they had been freed by their abductors. Now we know that some money had changed hands earlier, and the kidnappers had requested for more. Now whether the more was paid or not is what we do not know. But they say 2 of the children had earlier escaped from captivity some weeks ago, and 4 have actually died. And one parent has also died from as a result of shock after the abduction. But they were, as at yesterday, as at last night, the proprietor confirmed that the pupils had been released, and they were on their way to the government house in Minna, where the state governor was to receive them.
Well, it seems to be a good news. But
it is. This is a long time for a child to be away from his mother.
The fact that made it to be good news is that they are alive. But we must look at the bottom line of an issue of a kidnapping in Nigeria. Okay,
so quickly hold that thought. Let's just take that as well as the one from Zamfara as well. Zamfara, the students abducted from Zamfara, the College of what do they call it now? I've forgotten the name of the institution in Zamfara State, have also regained their freedom as at yesterday, along with their teachers. So let's take the two together.
Yes, as far as
that's the Zamfara State College of Agriculture and Animal Science.
All this Niger, Zamfara, they are located in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
You understand? And
absolutely.
Like I was saying before, the issue of kidnapping in Nigeria is becoming very, very rampant. I will use Nigeria as a case study on this discussion. African people, African presidents, African citizens, African lawmakers, we are not doing ourselves well because we are killing our economy.
Absolutely.
Go to South Africa, go to Zambia, go to Ghana, go to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the oldest African country. I think that's why we have the headquarters of AAU or something like that.
Yeah.
Many years back when I was in the college, and you know the hunger, the starvation in Ethiopia and other parts of African countries is as a result of what we are talking about. Understand? And Bob Marley said, one of his songs say, "Africa unite." And if now African president, African governors, whatever position they occupy, we use our wealth, our capital, are supposed to develop us to buy weapons. And you understand? And then we use the same weapon to wipe out our people. It's not good. Now again, if you look at well, I don't know, maybe we may discuss it, but if you look at the GDP of Nigeria, you will see trends of each of the industries there. Now the security is there. These people that are kidnapping, the kidnappers, what gadget are they using? Where do they use to keep those people that are being kidnapped? What kind of food they give to them? So it's not the trauma from being kidnapped and the time you will spend in their dungeon is very traumatic.
Honestly.
I'm telling you, some of these children, they are minor. Meaning that they're not up to 18. So this memory will remain in their brain. It's like forever and forever.
And you know, I was listening to somebody talking this morning, and he said, look, beyond just receiving them in the government house and maybe giving them some compensation and all that, is there any psychological follow-up on that? Is there any counseling? Is there any debriefing that will go on? We don't know.
You see, the government should stand to their responsibility. There's what we call before, and which is pre, and then post. And that is after. So prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
What government is supposed to do now, because me and you as an individual person, we don't have any weapon.
No.
Wake up in the morning, you go out and face your normal daily activity.
Yeah.
But the government, you see a governor, security will follow the governor, both back and front.
Yep.
Even traditional rulers, they are protected. But we are exposed to a lot of dangers. Now, to restore peace to immediate domain or enclave, they're supposed to prevent what is causing the kidnapping. And I was a polling agent many years back.
Yeah.
And most of this kidnapping are coming from political activities. For instance, 2023, you will see that governors, aspirants will mobilize unemployed youth, give them a token, give them arms, yes, and then train them how to protect them during political campaign, after political campaign, a political visit and other activities. And then by the time they get to the office, the governor who is saying, I will build a house for you, I will change your hospital, you will get drug, you will have fertilizer and all this and that. To see the governor becomes difficult.
A headache.
To reach your people now, it becomes difficult. You now find that the same people who are clamoring to be a governor or a local government chairman now abandon us. We'll be hearing them from South Africa, be hearing them from UK, be hearing them from Netherlands, and all of that. And then now they like in a simplest form disengage the people that they engage during the political campaign. Now these people have been trained to handle arms.
And then
do you understand?
No outlets.
Now they were enjoying political money juice that time.
Yes.
I mean, somebody, for instance, a college dropout, or somebody who has not been to school, can stay in 5-star hotel and engaged or employed by a politician. Yes, he has know how to use AC, has know how to drink red wine, but after that, you find that the same person come to the street and he could not even see bottled water to drink.
Nothing.
What do you expect?
And he still has his
What do you expect? The person who has been trained already will also look for all means to get to get to the street and get what he wants. And again, the security system in Nigeria, the police, the soldier, the immigration, the custom, name them, the civil defense. You know, unlawful disengagement of some of these staff lead to some of these problems we are talking right now. Because the imagine somebody served Nigerian police for maybe 30 or 20, 25 years, and suddenly maybe DPO or Inspector General of Police say, okay, your service is no longer required. Now, young lady, tell me where this man has been trained how to handle arms differently, and they have all the tactics and the strategies. So they will now say, okay, now that you have done this to me, I will pay back. Yes, because and as such, in terms of recruitment and exit of a job in this security area must be properly handled. Yes.
You know, you're bringing an entirely different perspective.
Yes, it's connected to kidnapping activity in Nigeria.
Wow. But you mentioned the GDP, and there's an interesting one on that. They said Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, grew by 5.01% year on year in real terms in the second quarter of this year, and that's from the National Bureau of Statistics. You're the finance experts. Talk to us.
When we talk about GDP, we talk about gross domestic product. And we'll have also what we call net domestic products.
Okay.
When we talk about gross, it's like you've made your pap and you have not filtered it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you have not filtered it. So you will not get the real pipe from it. It's a grounded, gross is not filtered. It's like a extraction of gold ore that has not turned to gold. Or iron ore that have not turned to steel. So when we talk about gross domestic product, we are talking about the holistic economic activity ranging from mining, ranging from tax, public utility, manufacturing, hospitality and tourism. I mean, look at it all. It's everything put together that is giving this value. And now it's GDP to have grown to 5%. is a paper news. It's not to me as an individual and as a fellow of Chartered Institute of Nigerian Economics. It is what comes to my purse that depends on this growth. And now there's difference between in development studies or economics. There is difference between the growth and then the economy paying back individual persons wherever they are. Either you work in the public, either you work in the private sector. They should be able, the GDP should be able to give you a point earning. I call point earning. The GDP is a national domestic product, meaning that every Nigerian supposed to enjoy this. When we get to, when we remove all the expenses, because we also, the GDP include import and export. And so when you make business or you make a trade, you must remove your expenses because money is being expensed to generate this revenue. And so for this 5% is a growth, but can we measure it with economic development?
Okay, so what you're saying is that these are just the figures.
Yes.
But it is not translating into economic development.
Yes, it's not translating like to per capita income.
Okay.
You understand? Per capita income. Biologically, a plant supposed to grow before it bear fruit.
Absolutely.
So this growth now is a kind of light news. But when economy is growing, the citizens supposed to benefit in some in major areas of life. For instance, education. For instance, security. For instance, utility. For instance, manufacturing. I was coming to work this morning, and when I got to Area 1 roundabout, I saw able men, Nigerian people that they're just stopping car. I mean, they just stop car. Now, let me say this. We need traffic protection in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
But now, these people that are, imagine 5% of Nigerian civil defense, 5% of road safety. This, because they are, to me, as an authority, they are enjoying idle time. So if our industry are well established from what they are providing from the GDP, say it's a 5%, this and that.
Yeah, but they now, claim that it's better than Q1, where we had 0.51% growth.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that because in 1970, the GDP has not increased to 5%.
Oh, really?
And the life was better. Yes, the life was better. Even 60, the life was better.
Okay, so we actually have a like kind of like a graphic show from 2015 to and they're claiming that 2021 is Q2 is the best so far since 2015.
The 2021, now when they are providing this information or data, I think maybe they've not considered one of the key variables in economics. That is inflation. Yes, inflation has power over the gross domestic product and the net domestic product. Because inflation, they've not given us the inflation growth, and it's every day. Now, you are a resident of Abuja. Something you buy in 7 a.m. today, if you go back by 7 or 6 or 3:30, there's always an increase, either arithmetically or geometrically. So the inflation factor, I don't think that it has been factored inside. And when we are talking about ordinary inflation, but there is another one we call galloping inflation. Galloping inflation is that anything can trigger increase in price in the market. And so now it is how much are you earning? That is where we need they need to look at the net domestic product. the net domestic product supposed to be shared as a national cake for all of us. Madam, how much are you getting from the economy? Understand? So it is how much you earn per day that will determine how far you can go as far as market trend is concerned. And purchasing power, of course.
So talking about purchasing power and sharing the national cake, if I dare put it that way, we have this report that ICPC, FRSC have arrested 15 road safety officials over extortion of motorists.
See?
So on highways across the country. And this happened August 12th, and it happened in Adamawa, Gombe, Ondo, and Osun states. And their aim is to bring an end to extortion. But we know that it's a vicious cycle.
Yes, like I was saying before, maybe another government may come again, and they will enact another agency or parastatal like road safety, VIO, and others. I think our people should go to the drawing board, because these people, they are not into production. For any economy to grow and develop, there must be production.
Okay.
And that is what the UK, if we need any machine, we go to US. We need any machine, we go to China. We need any machine, we go to Germany. Now, when we are, in any economy, when you are buying, there's what we call capital flight. When you are buying, there's capital flight, and in exchange in any market, it involves what we call currency pair. Meaning that if you want to buy from US, you must convert your naira to dollar. And that is where the inflation, the variance, or the market trend come to play. And as such, we should engage in production. That is when Nigeria will stabilize their economy. Because these people that are doing this extortion, let's assume that they are put into factory, producing maybe biro, producing camera, producing this one. How many people will you find on the road? You understand?
True.
How many people will you find on the road?
So even these people that are extorting, the road safety officials that are extorting, are now reduced in number because others are getting jobs in other places, and so they're I don't know how it works, because
you see, whether left or right, I think this traffic staff from road safety VIO, they are not helping us. They are not helping us. They are not helping Nigerians, because you wake up in the morning. That does not negate that you must beat traffic. We all know you must obey the law of the land.
Absolutely.
But some of them, they go to extreme in a such way that you are going to the office, you don't commit any traffic offense, they will now stop you at the middle of the road. They come and stand at the road. Is it how they are trained? You see, that is why in Kaduna of recent, I think the governor banned VIO, and it also happened in Kano and one other state in Nigeria. Because you find that even the local traffic people, they are better off. I was in Kano too. Yeah. And the local traffic people, they will respect you, they will honor you, and you will go, they will show you the way. There's no traffic person on the road that you ask as a Nigerian today, I miss my road. They say, you park. I mean, what is the meaning of that? And then they will stay at the middle of the road. They will say, park. And you see trailer coming left and right. So their duty is to protect us too, not to endanger our life. And I think they need to be properly trained.
Okay, let's move on quickly. Still back to Niger State. Pupils under the National Homegrown School Feeding Program in Niger State are allegedly being fed with expired rice, and they're being served they're purportedly being served a quarter of an egg for their meals instead of a full egg. And this is from findings gotten by some members of the Niger State House of Assembly who claimed the program in the state is shrouded in a lot of malpractices and sharp practices from both officials and vendors.
You see, when we talk about expired products, let me take it from production management point of view. For every production has the expiring dates.
Absolutely.
And the NAFDAC and other production organization agency in Nigeria, I think they need to wake up to their responsibility. Number two, some of these Nigerians are very greedy. Like during the COVID 2020, the palliative that's supposed to be given to people, you find out in Area 10 UTC, they hoard this rice, they hoard maize, they hoard so many things. And they're forgetting that these products have expiring dates.
Absolutely.
And that, okay, where are they going to take it? And now because there is hunger in the land, there's a young man. We told him that the coke has expired. He said, no, it will expire inside his stomach. So,
okay.
Yes. So Nigerian, that's why we are talking about the gross domestic product or the net domestic product. What each Nigerians are earning every day is not enough to feed them. That is individual person. I'm not talking about family of 2, 3, 5. And as such, anybody that see a bag of rice that has expired or just expired, he does not care. A hungry man is an angry man.
But then that is that man's choice. These children go to school. There's a government provision for them to have their lunch in school. And we find out that they're being given. So it's not their choice. It's not their parents' choice.
Yes.
Somebody has been paid to give them good food at least once a day. And this person has decided to cut corners and cut costs. Yes, agreed. The prices of food have gone up. I mean, I know the price of a crate of an egg has become something else, but is there no other way to circumvent these things rather than giving these children expired foodstuff?
It's all about mindsets and societal values. You understand? When we talk about societal values, when I was growing up, your parents will always give you fresh palm oil with yam to eat.
Absolutely.
Maybe
and a sprinkle of
sauce. Very saucy. Very saucy. Fresh pepper.
Yeah.
You know, fresh grass cutter and all this. So it's all about societal values, and these values are lacking in some of these administrators. Yes, some of these administrators, they don't have this value, and it is what you have you give to people. Like in 1950, 1960 to 70 and late 80s, Nigerian students are spread across the country. Maybe for instance, University of Jos, University of Maiduguri, ABU Zaria, and they have this quality. They have this quality because whoever is in charge has this value. And number two, discipline. Is what the person exercises is a gross indiscipline. And does the person exist under any authority? And then when you do something and you go scot-free, then other people will say, okay, hence A has done this, I, B, will not be punished. So the person should be brought to book, you know, because number one, these children, it involves lives.
Absolutely.
It involves lives. And you cannot be an administrator of a college, of any institution, and then you now cause pains for the parents or the guardian who are hoping that their children will finish their program and become useful people in the society, in their house, in their community.
So it becomes a question.
Yes.
It becomes a question of conscience. It becomes a question of checks and balances.
Yes. In fact, the system is to manage a college should not be a difficult thing. Yes. To go and buy food should not be a difficult thing. And I think if you check the school system, is porous.
Absolutely.
The school system is porous. And now there's what I call due process development. Due process development shows that you should not allow one person to complete a task. The person will go to the market, the wife will cook the stew, this one, the brother will build this one. You find out it is an entire family managing an entire college system with over 2,000, 1,000, 1 million students. I mean, it's incredible. So this task must be what? Be segmented and be distributed. That is where this A will say, okay, no, madam, if you are doing like this, I will report you. So that will create that kind of alert. And then the person will do the right thing. Absolutely. But when it is left in the hands of an individual, definitely, as a political animal, they will manipulate the system.
Thank you very much. We will be going on a short break and more on the headlines for this morning when we return. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is now streaming on ACNN. Okay, so let's move on with our headlines. There's a really heartbreaking one, and I think it's just a cry and a plea for help. The students' union body of University of Jos is crying out, and they say their voices are fading and no one seems to be listening. And they had a press conference yesterday, and they've listed their students that have been killed in the last few days, and they've actually been a brunt of a lot of things happening around the country. If it happens in the southwest, they get a hit. If it happens in the core north, they get a hit. If it happens in the middle belt, they get a hit. And students actually spoke with a student of Unijos yesterday, and she said she's tired. They've started exams. She's written 2 papers. Now she can't graduate because their school has been shut down. And she was saying that's even the least of their problems. They have classmates, schoolmates who were brutally killed in the last few days. And so they're crying for help. They're crying. We found state governments that have actually gone in. I know Adamawa State's government has gone in and taken their citizens out of the place. Oyo State, I think 1 or 2 other states have also gone in and evacuated their students. And the ones left behind are saying enough already.
You see, those students that were killed in this crisis, their souls rest in peace.
Amen.
But it's very unfortunate for our country, Nigeria, and Plateau State government. We have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. What is the function of these 6 political zones in Nigeria? For instance, there was crisis in Jos. What of other states that are in this zone? They're supposed to contribute security, support the state that is in crisis. Because maybe the armies that are in Nigeria, in Jos, or the number of armies, battalion, they can't cope with the crisis because of the cluster nature of the crisis, where the crisis is actually taking place. So the 6 geopolitical zones supposed to donate security to this area to combat this crisis. And when that is done, then they will bring the crisis into in a low ebb and make sure that peace are restored. And the university system in Nigeria is supposed to have security. You cannot put your after stress of WAEC, after stress of JAM, after stress getting to 400, 200, 500 in terms of science courses. Then suddenly your child or your world is being killed.
I know a medical
it's very painful.
Yeah,
it's very painful.
And you know, in the midst of all this, so it's just outrageous. In the midst of all this, kidnappings are still taking place on a daily basis. It's just and this again, Kaduna last night, 7 people, midnight raid, they've been taken away. So they're still battling with the one in Jos, they're yet to get over that, and then another one is happening. So people sleeping, in short, they're trying to say we should begin to keep vigil in the country, because you cannot go to bed and be sure of being in your bed when you wake up in the morning.
You see, the issue of also that kidnapping also bow down to issue of leadership. Yes, when the leader leads well, it will reduce crisis. When any leader leads well, objectively and per judgment, giving rights to whom and justice to whom it is due, you find out there will be a lesser crisis in our society. The Nigeria is a heterogenic society, meaning that there are a lot of ethnic groups that are not from the same place. And therefore, the leader of the state should be able to address them and talk to them in the language they will understand. That now the language they will understand,
in a calming language. Let's not talk about language they will understand.
The language they will understand is a language of peace. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That there is no benefit in violence, that there is more benefit in peace.
But then peace. Talking about that, we actually have a report coming from News Online that the Northern Youth Council of Nigeria has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government to unveil the identity of sponsors of these bandits, because there's an allegation that the federal government is aware of the sponsors. Well, we've not substantiated that, but there is that, and these people are coming out to say 19 northern states and the FCT will be shut down in the next 14 days if their identities are not revealed, 1. 2, they said the Attorney General and Minister of Justice should be sacked because he's not doing anything to prosecute members of Boko Haram and ISWAP that have been arrested. They also claim that he has failed to prosecute over 400 Bureau de Change owners that were arrested as being sponsors as well. So it all ties in. So now even the northern youth are saying, look, enough is enough. The young people are saying...
Yes, I think that is what we expect from them. But if only and only it is real. For instance, there's a crisis in one of African countries, and the president came out and said, okay, now this is our country, this is our land, and that is going to swear for anybody that is involved in this kind of crisis in our land, that they need peace in their country, need peace in their state, in their capital, so that development will come, growth will come. You understand? Good things will come to people. Now, it's a good, utterances from the northern youth. But our president is supposed to come out. Because wait, let me say this. Because if they are talking about the federal government, who is the federal government? Who is in charge of the federal government? Do you understand? Me and you cannot go to the studio and say, okay, let all this one stop. There are authorities and constitution of the land. So the presidents have not really addressed us. and the National Assembly are keeping quiet. As if we're not experiencing democracy in the country. For instance, if our president come out and say, okay, all the kidnappers, all this and that, there must be this and that. You see, it may not stop one day, but drastically people begin to drop, violence, drop guns and other things. So the state government and the federal government, they are what we have three tiers of government in Nigeria: the local government, the state government, and the federal government.
And talking about this now, the Sultan of Sokoto yesterday at the meeting of the Intra-Religious Council yesterday right here in Abuja said things are not getting better. He said things are not getting better, and he's wondering how marauders could remain unknown. We keep calling them unknown gunmen. They keep entering people's homes, entering their farms, and killing and maiming and kidnapping and destroying livelihoods. And he says, how can they remain unknown when the nation has various intelligence agencies? And he says, well, although he commends security operatives for their efforts so far, we need proactive intelligence agencies that would think a step ahead of everybody and any criminal trying to disrupt the peace. And this is coming from now the Sultan of Sokoto.
Yes. As a traditional ruler, meeting in this kind of forum is very, very good. Actually, for the loss of life and for the loss of destruction of property in Nigeria, especially northeast and other part of the country, is an indication that all is not well.
Yeah.
And I think all traditional rulers is not to come and get this and that from federal government as an award. They should go I encourage all the traditional rulers across the country to address their people, because they constitute authority, and most of them have pay. They earn from Nigerian money. And when production is not going on, how can they be paid? If you are a ruler and they kill all your people,
there's nobody to rule.
There's nobody to rule. So the traditional ruler all over the country should go back and address their people. Like I was saying earlier, it's also happened in that African country named with head. And the traditional ruler called all the community and brought go to their shrine, their shrine.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so the square, properly known as it is called in Igbo, in the eastern part of the country, Nigeria.
Yes.
And then they now do a kind of prayer and talk to their ancestor that whoever that is part of the problem that they are passing in that place, kidnapping, killing, corruption, kaza. You see, let God and the spirit of their forefather finish all of them. Do you know that after the traditional utterance and that exercise, crime begin to drop at geometric time.
People became scared.
And then people begin to go to farm, people begin to sleep well. So the traditional rulers also have a lot of roles to play in conjunction with the state government, in conjunction with the federal government and government security agencies.
Okay, so yesterday was also a rather emotional one. Yesterday, 26th of August, was the 10th year and memorial for the bomb blast that happened at the United Nations House here in Abuja that killed at least 20 people and left over 60 injured. And family members were gathered for a memorial or remembrance ceremony right here in the FCT yesterday. That was a rather sad one. I'm sure a lot of people can remember exactly where they were when that happened.
As a matter of fact, it's very, very unfortunate that we are passing through all this in a country that is full of honey and full of resources. I would like to say and also commend Nigerians. We are intelligent, But we should not use our intelligence to kill our people, because generation from this country must continue and must survive. Actually, 10 years back, it was a sad day, a black day for Nigerian and other African countries, and other expatriates from other countries that work at the United Nations. And it's not far from National Hospital, Abuja. Yeah. For those of you who are listening to us, and I was in the office in Wuse Zone 5, and the blast was tremendous. It was tremendous. And it is from that point that the federal government should know that our security is porous. That is, yes, we are talking about 10 years back now. Yeah, yeah. You can look at the interval and see what we are passing through now. You know? So if people like that can now, United Nations, they should be able, okay, now the question is that, is it that they don't have gadget to detect this thing? Is it that the people that are at the gates allow people to go inside without checking and all this and that? And so if kidnappers and all these invaders,
the ones that invaded the NDA a few days ago. They have their training, they have tools and other strategies they use. And I think federal government should go deep down, and state government and local government, to ensure that our security agencies are well trained. But when we are talking about that, they're going to be trained through investments of putting money into training. But now they will not get the training because somebody will collect the money. Somebody will divert the fund. And so this is one of the major problems we are facing in the country. You understand? Things are not done the way it's supposed to be done. So our hearts...
It was a hard this thing, because you see, as at that time, Nigerian dailies, guidance newspaper, all of them, you see blood, shattered everywhere, and it's very, very unfortunate. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so yesterday, or during this week, we've had a recruitment exercise going on at Sheraton that has drawn the eyes of many. I watched an interview, I think it was on Channels also, where a young doctor was saying she saw her teacher, a seasoned pediatrician, also going to apply for a job, or going to apply for a job as a medical practitioner with the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Health. Now, another was scheduled for yesterday, Thursday, but reports say that DSS came and dispersed the applicants, journalists, and every other person that was gathered there. A journalist also was arrested but has been released. And yeah, so everybody has gone home.
You see, like we discussed earlier, you see, there's input, there's output. If I'm working, I'm supposed to benefit. Now, there's in production management and economics, there's what we call manpower. Nigerian, and they should take note right now, during the slave trade, most African countries, including Nigeria, their sons, their daughters were sold into slavery.
Yeah.
And now they are in America, they're in UK, they're in Germany, and they are turning their industry to a developed economy. We are third countries, as far as all African countries is concerned. And so the exercise is cropped up as a result of a threat on resident doctors in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Yes, and the ratio of look at general hospitals and clinic in Nigeria. Now, how many doctors each of these universities are producing out every year. In fact, we don't have enough doctor to take care of you, give you services in the hospital. Imagine you go to a hospital and the ratio is 1 to 100. A doctor is attending to 100 people in a day. It's also a human being.
Absolutely.
And then there's no reward for that. They don't even have tools and equipment. You go to hospital. Okay, I was in close to Wuse Zone 3 hospital, general hospital. You go to general hospital, you see crowd, you understand? And then before you get a point service, it takes you like 5 hours. In fact, you won't go to work that day. So if Nigerian government is not taking care of a resident doctor, yes, and if they find alternative, I think they will move.
But now what they're crying out against is that, yes, you know, so it's a two-way thing. Another country is coming to your country to recruit your doctors. But then it's also, they have the right to move to any country of their choice if they have the correct documentation and papers. So I don't think they had reason or cause to go and disperse them from that point of interview. Well, that's my personal opinion.
I think for the country, what's the name of the country? Is it Australia?
No, Saudi Arabia.
Okay, Saudi Arabia. Now,
and the truth about it is, if I were to do anything about it, if I was in a position where I'm being embarrassed by another country, what I would do is quickly make my own place good and conducive. If it was conducive, they would not run away.
Yes, so that is why if Saudi Arabia come to recruit doctors from Nigeria, it should not a day work.
It's not.
So what the Ministry of Labor and Productivity, what is the minister doing about this? Or is he not aware that such exercise will take place in the country? So do you understand? So Nigeria want to embarrass us, and we must fight for our right. These people that are fighting these people that they should not do recruitment exercise, they're supposed to stop it first. Number one, pay the doctors very well.
Very well.
Attend to them because they attend to our life and our health care. And then the Minister of Labor and Productivity ought to have checked somebody coming all the way. You know, I mean, that far country to do this kind of exercise.
We have to call it
a blow to us. And
morning.
Please, if Nigerian don't take, it's not only resident doctor or doctors,
other people are going.
Professionals,
yes.
Engineers, mechanical engineer, water engineer, all these people are being taken away, and they are developing other countries. And look at our country.
It's absolutely appalling.
It's not issue of president is traveling, governor want to commission something, and all this commissioning and all this and this is not helping our economy.
Absolutely.
You know, to me, it's a social, economic, and political embarrassment to our country, Nigeria.
And on that note, this is where we call it a day on today's edition of Now Streaming. Thank you very, very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's been awesome having you with us this morning.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you for allowing us grace your TV screens. Be a law-abiding citizen, be vigilant. If you see something, say something. And always report criminal activities to the appropriate authorities. Do good at all times. Register to vote. If you haven't, we cry this every morning. Please go get registered. It's just a click away on your devices. Get your card after registering. Join a political party that you believe in. Be actively involved in politics. Government is for everybody and not for a select few. Remember, God is the ultimate protector and deliverer, and therefore put your trust in him. I am Mojisola. Have a restful or a partyful weekend, if you will, but have a wonderful day and a glorious weekend.